between a VA loan and like an FHA or a USDA loan? What benefits the veteran more?
Yeah, well, VA really doesn't have the restrictive guidelines that USDA would have, right? So USDA loan does offer 100% financing, but they have specific caps on income, specific caps on loan amount, and where the area is that you may be looking to purchase.
Welcome back to another episode of Rendezvous with Alysia. Today's guest is Ed Bocchino, the branch production manager of Revolution Mortgage. I met Ed about 3 years ago at an invite. I was a new agent at Innovate Real Estate, and Innovate, every month has the new agent luncheons, and I happen to have met Ed Bocchino, and I just thought that he was probably one of the most down-to-earth, real lenders that I could actually sit and talk to. And I was like, I'm going to put you on speed dial. And sure enough, he's been on my speed dial for the past 3 years. Any problems I have, even with my own mortgage that I was taking out, I've done a couple deals with Ed. And we're going to get into Ed and Revolution Mortgage. But first, this is my Salute to Veterans series. Ed, thank you for your service. You served in the United States military. Can we talk a little bit about that, the branch that you served? And let's talk some stories here.
Yeah, sure. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me today. I did take my glasses off because I see the reflection of the Steelers game in the background. So coming from the TV, but I can kind of make everything out. We're okay.
Yeah.
So thank you again so much for having me today. A couple funny stories, really, how influential I was or was to things when I was younger. So I had watched, and I don't really remember the main characters because it was so long ago, had to be 42 years ago now. I was watching this movie called Big Red One, whether you've ever seen it or not, a very old military movie about Normandy and D-Day. And I said, I need to do that. So next thing, I found myself graduating high school in 1985. And going to the recruiting office and sitting down and saying, I want to be part of the Big Red One. So that's how it started. And, was stationed in Fort Riley, Kansas, wonderful Fort Riley, Kansas, and Junction City, right downtown, Kansas. But the funny story behind that was, I was 17 when I graduated high school. And I was young going into school, and I didn't know much about geography, right, at all. And I get into the recruiter's office, and they said, well, here's a video of Fort Riley, Kansas, and then here's a video of Fort Carson in Colorado, right, which is one of the largest military installations, but that's where 1st Infantry was as well. And they first put on Fort Carson, and there are soldiers running around in white camouflage, jumping in snow. Looks like it's pretty cold. And then they show Fort Riley, Kansas, and it's amber waves of grain just blowing in the sunshine. And I'm like, I'm going there. Little did I know where Kansas was, how flat it was, and how cold it is in the wintertime. At least in Colorado, I might have been by some ski slopes and, beautiful mountains and scenery. In Kansas, I was in the flattest plains with the winds, blowing at 40 miles an hour at negative temperatures in the winter. So bad move there, but good move getting into the military and doing my part to train.
Yeah. How many years did you serve in the United States Army?
Just 3 years.
Very nice. And then what happened when you left?
Well, I got out of the Army and went back to New Jersey. I was living in New Jersey at that time, and just kind of reconnected and trying to find my place, right, where I really wanted to be, what I wanted to do. With obviously no college degree, all military behind me, 3 years of military. I think it really set me up very well, just from a discipline standpoint. And preparedness standpoint. I always say luck favors the prepared, right?
Yeah.
And it took a while to get my feet up underneath me, but later found my way into the mortgage industry, and that was in the early to mid 1990s. So here we are 30 years or so later, and it's what we do.
Yeah, and I can tell you are super seasoned because I just have one phone call with you and I know everything from you. Like you're just, I love working with you. And I wanted to do
Thank
this.
you.
You're welcome, Ed. And I wanted to do this segment on VA loans, how important they are. Ed, can you give us a little background of what an actual VA loan is for anybody in the service or thinking of joining the service when they get out, that we possibly could make home purchasing for anybody that serves the country more affordable. So let's talk about what a VA loan is and how would you attain one?
Yeah, so it's a government-backed loan specifically for veterans, right? Veterans and their spouse, if they're purchasing together. And it really, I took out a VA loan when I did my first home purchase, and it's really an incredible tool. It does allow for 100% financing, meaning that you don't need to have a down payment. You can have a down payment, but you don't need to have a down payment in order to qualify. Also, because you're at 100% financing, in most cases, you would generally have what's called monthly mortgage insurance, whether you're doing a FHA loan, or a conventional loan and putting less than 20% down. Well, you don't have a monthly mortgage insurance fee that goes along with your general monthly payment if you do VA. There are a couple other guaranteed funding fees, et cetera, that are just put into the loan. That's just par for course for first-time users, unless you are exempt from any funding fees just based on your disability and your service within the military. So it's an incredible product. It really is. Generally speaking, the interest rates are a little bit better than general financing. Look, if and we could talk about it next, if we get money coming back from the seller towards closing costs, we can get into a home with basically no money out of our pocket.
Nice. Now, what's the difference between a VA loan and like an FHA or a USDA loan? Because there are some similarities, I feel like, but what is the difference? What benefits the veteran more?
Yeah, well, VA really doesn't have the restrictive guidelines that USDA would have, right? So USDA loan does offer 100% financing, but they have specific caps on income, specific caps on loan amount, and where the area is that you may be looking to purchase needs to be in a USDA eligible area, which, generally speaking, is more rural location than metropolitan. So it does have some restrictions where the VA doesn't have any restrictions in regard to that. As well, as long as you obviously qualify with your certificate of eligibility for a VA loan. FHA basically is going to require 3.5% down. Right. So FHA is another great government subsidized product as well. Generally for folks that have a little challenging credit, and they'll still accommodate a potential home purchase through a FHA loan, but you are paying mortgage insurance every single month. You are paying an FHA funding fee that would go into the loan, as well. So that's a cost, not necessarily out of your pocket, but it increases your loan size, which will increase your monthly payment. But it is very flexible, as well. But VA just kind of takes the lead when it comes to flexibility, and again, just there to really support our military.
Yeah. So if you can tell, let's say like my son, he's a 5.5-year enlistment. He has one more year. And he talks about if he chooses not to re-enlist and come out, he would eventually like to purchase a home and use a VA loan. What should these veterans or these, whether they're going into the reserve or they're staying active, what should they prepare for? Like, what do they need to have to actually make this loan happen and buy a home?
Yeah, really, most importantly is knowledge, right? And you're going to get that knowledge through some resources that the VA offers, right? Through their website and do's and don'ts. But, you can read a lot online, but speaking to somebody and just getting it, directly from them I always feel is best, because there's always some gray area, right? That you may not really be able to understand through reading online resources. And look, 12 months, right? We talk about maybe 12 months next year. It happens very quick, right?
Yeah.
Very quick. So I say the first step is gain some knowledge. Reach out to someone that knows VA financing, that you can chat with. In that situation, we would just ask a bunch of questions and just get an idea of where we are in today's world, right? In regard to what they anticipate doing coming out of the military, looking at credit, right? Maybe the credit's perfect. Maybe there's some things that we need to do to get better positioned for finance. Maybe the credit's good, but it's not great. And maybe there's something we can do there, right? Because better the credit, better everything, right? Even with the VA loan. So, and then look at debt ratios and understand, how, my current liabilities and debt will affect my buying power, to get an understanding of how much could I afford, and really just, get comfortable with a budget and what that budget dictates the buying power to be.
Right. Okay. So there is a lot of hope for veterans that are just coming out. Now they have to have a job lined up, obviously, like what's going to pay that. They have to leave in a good standing, and then have a job lined up, or do they have to have X amount of time under their belt after leaving? Like, how does that work?
So, it just really depends on what their MOS was and what they're coming into, right, in their background. But if it's guaranteed income, whether it be a base salary or guaranteed 40 hours, especially if it's, similar to work that they've kind of been in, right? There's several different MOSs within the military, not just infantry, right? And that's great. The great thing about starting early and having those conversations is if we feel that we need to be in a certain price point, we can kind of reverse engineer and say, okay, well, where does that income need to be? Whether we can get there or we can't get there, at least we know, right, what that's going to look like, and preparing before we depart, from the military. So there's definitely a lot that can be done way ahead of time, just to sort of start to get all those stones in place.
Now, are you licensed throughout the whole country, or are you mostly the Southeast? Like, where do you service mortgages?
Yeah, so the great thing is each individual loan officer is going to be licensed generally in the state that they're doing business in, right? As a branch, we hold, somewhere around 5 different state licenses that we can do as a branch. However, Revolution as a whole, we can do everywhere. Except for New York, basically.
Except for New York, okay.
But New York's compliance, it's not fun.
I'm from New York. I know.
No, I know you are. But yeah, so we have an opportunity through Revolution directly to lend just about anywhere.
All right, guys. So if you're listening, I have a couple more questions outside of the VA loan that I want to talk to Ed about. But if you are a veteran and you are actively serving, if you are in the reserves, if you're retired, or if you just got out and you're looking to purchase a home and you have questions about the VA loan, you're going to contact Ed Bocchino at Revolution Mortgage. Ed, how do they get in touch with you?
Sure. Easiest way is my cell phone. I'm always responding to that immediately. 843-655-8078.
Perfect. Okay. Now, Ed, I have to bring this story up. Now, we're not going to mention names, and we're not going to talk about anything. Ed, you saved my life. You saved my buyers. I had buyers that were dealing with new construction, and we're not mentioning anybody here because no one's getting in trouble here. But I had buyers that had taken one of these incredible incentives that a new construction company was offering. And at the midnight hour, the week of closing, they were denied by underwriting over something frivolous. I made one call to you, okay? And we closed 2 weeks later with Revolution Mortgage. What the heck happened? How are these people denied by a nationwide builder and then picked up and taken to the finish line within 2 weeks by Revolution Mortgage? How does something like this happen, Ed? We got to talk about this.
I haven't figured that out yet, although I could say because I seem to have this reputation here at the beach of, I can do magic or something
Yeah,
like
you
that.
do.
And I don't know it's magic. I think it's just experience. I mean, 30 some years, it's knowing, having the right product base, having the right relationships, having the right investors in place, and just being able to quickly look at something and say, well, of course that would be the direction we should be going in. So it's hard to say. A lot of times these builders are great. There's a lot of great mortgage folks that are out there, no doubt. But it's sometimes just lack of experience. And they don't ask the question, they don't get it to the next step. As long as I've been in the business, I have a hotline to our head of underwriting for the whole entire company. And I just pick up the phone and I'll ask him the silliest question, right? Because at 30 some years of doing this, sometimes I feel like I've forgotten more than I've learned or remembered. But that's all for my agent partners. That's all for, put the ego aside. I don't need to make the decision. If there's something that's a little bit gray and we can figure it out, I'm generally getting in contact with head of underwriting within minutes. And figuring it out if I don't think I know that answer. And it's just doing that little extra due diligence and getting the job done. Because look, it's your living, it's their home, it's your reputation as a referring partner, it's their family, right?
Yes.
And to cap it all off, what probably really drives me the most outside of my business partners like yourself, and knowing how that we're dependent on. We are dependent on, right? I take that seriously. When I think of, probably what gives me chills every time I think about it is you close your eyes and you put yourself in the shoes of a husband or a wife, and they have kids and they're all excited about buying a home. They get into contract on a home. They're working with a lender. Everyone's picking out their rooms, picking out their bedroom colors, picking out all of this. Think about the family dynamic, right? And then there's a problem. Right. And now, whoever's leading that charge, whether it's mom or dad's, got to go to the family and say, sorry, kids, we can't do this. They're crying. I get choked up when I think about it. So that's why, if we're issuing a pre-approval, we're closing. Right. If we're not issuing a pre-approval, we're chatting with the folks and we're making them feel good about where they are today and how we can get there down the road, because it's a sensitive subject, and it's family, and I never want to think of anyone having to have that conversation with their family.
I know it is. I guess when you're dealing with like your biggest, largest asset that you've worked X amount of years, put blood, sweat, and tears and every penny you have into purchasing that home, it is probably. It is. I know. I'm in the field, and we own multiple homes. It's emotional. There's no other word for it. It's really emotional. And I thank you for all that you've done. Especially for us, you've gotten me out of crazy situations. We're actually closing this week on another home. And I love when I get the video, hey guys, it's me, Ed, and I'm on my phone. We're clear to close. And I'm like, yeah.
Love those videos.
I know. Videos. Well, just before you had mentioned agent partners. Now, you just had a huge event. You had some celebrity coaches and stuff like that from the colleges. How'd that event go? I couldn't make it in. I'm so sorry, but I was like,
we're going to get you at one of them eventually. We're going to get you there.
I promise. The Wigs and I will be at one of your events. I promise.
It went very well. A lot of folks can lend money, right? There's a lot of lenders. There's a lot of banks. There's a lot of loan officers out there. And, we always think of our partners, our agent partners as true partners. We think of ourselves as true partners. And it's like, well, what does that mean? We're not standing there with our hand out waiting for a referral to come in. We are trying to collaborate and bring best practices, bring in folks from the outside like we did with that. It was called Winning Under Pressure. We brought in the Sun Belt Coach of the Year, Coach Schnall with Coastal Carolina University. Wow. They took their team 26 wins in a row in college baseball to get to the College Baseball World Series as a complete underdog, swept through the tournament to go up against LSU, undoubtedly one of the best baseball teams ever. I think 7 championships, and just have an incredible game with them. And we wanted to know, I'm getting chills talking about it. We wanted to know what makes them tick, right? Because there's a huge correlation between sports and business. Between my agent athlete, my business unusual workshops that I do, it's to kind of bring those dynamics of sports and look at them and say, well, how does that affect me from a business standpoint? And what it really comes down to is, preparedness and mindset. Right. We had the athletic director, we had the head coach, we had two of the players as well. I mean, these are 20-year-old kids, right? 21-year-old kids that are on the mound with 2 outs and bases loaded. I mean, what gets you through that moment, right? And so we had about 170 agents come to that event, and
it was huge. I saw the pictures. I know
it was an incredible event.
Yeah, we appreciate all that you do for all of us, along the 60 miles of coastal Carolina. You're always here and cheerleading for everybody, but you cheerlead for yourself as well. I know you have a social media, not that you cheerlead for yourself, you cheerlead for others through yourself, but you have an incredible social media presence as well, where you're uplifting and posting and stuff. Do you have a company doing that for you? Or are you doing that? Or is your wife? Your wife is a realtor. I love her. She's so fun. But how are you doing all of this?
Yeah, so Novacell Media, Chelsea is her name.
Okay, yeah.
One girl, and she does all the filming, she does all the editing.
Excellent.
Yeah, look, there's folks that are my age that are high tech and tech savvy and all of that stuff. I mean, I got on this call 20 minutes early just to make sure that I was going to be able to get through the link and the technology. But yeah, so many things hold us back, and a lot of times it's just perspective and perception, right? And we get in our own ways with so much, and I would love to spend more time talking to folks outside of our industry, just about the possibility of anything, right? Because everything and anything is possible.
Yes.
It's just we get out of our own way and we put our head down, we can make anything happen. So I just like to try to encourage folks through social media.
And we love watching you. We love following you, Ed. Now, before we end the show, I want to talk about your drum set. Are you actually in a band, or do you just play drums? What's going on with the drums?
Yeah, no, I've played forever, really, since I was a little kid with, a rubber pad and some drumsticks. And so I just try to sit in with bands wherever I can. If I'm out and about and a band's playing, Julio and the Saltines, a local band here that I sit and play with. I went up north for Memorial for one of my friends, and that was the band I was in a long time ago when I just got out of the military, and played with them, and then I just I have all my equipment here, so I just put on the PA, I put on whatever band I want to play with, and I sit there and I jam with them. So
love it. And everybody loves Julio. They're all over the place here. It's great. Well, I'm so happy that you came. You rendezvoused with Alysia. Really look forward to seeing you again. I know we have a closing this week that I'll be like, oh my God, thanks again, Ed. But yeah, you're great. Again, tell everybody if they need, whether it's a VA loan or whatever they're doing, if they're a small business, how can people get in touch with you, Ed?
Sure. Well, first off, thank you. Right. I mean, what you do is just incredible for our vets, and everybody knows that. So I know how humble you are, but yeah, it's incredible, and you just do so much. We certainly appreciate it, no doubt. But yes, 843-655-8078 is my cell, and you can call me anytime.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Ed. I hope to have you back on.
Thank you so much, Alysia. Have a great day.
Okay, thanks. Calling all first responders, healthcare professionals, and military personnel. Are you ready to take the next steps in your home buying or selling journey? My name is Alysia Stern. I'm a licensed realtor in New York, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida, and the founder of the Heroes Agents. You have made tremendous sacrifices for all of us, and it is our honor to assist you in your real estate journey. To express our gratitude, we offer hero rebates and customized services tailored to fit your unique needs. Our commitment is to help you find your perfect home or enhance the value of your current property. We are also dedicated to supporting you in securing financial resources and smoothly navigating the mortgage process, guiding you every step of the way. To date, we have proudly given back over $50,000 to heroes like you as a way to say thank you. The Heroes agents are here to serve you and make the process as easy and stress-free as possible while giving back with no strings attached. Reach out to us today at 833-TOP-HERO. That's 833-TOP-HERO. Or visit theheroesagents.com.